perfect size for the stuffed bear in her backpack. She noticed that her suitcase stayed in Elena's room. Maybe that meant she wouldn't be left with the doctors at the clinic. Maybe she'd come back with the Davises. "This appointment is very important," Anna explained in the car. "The doctor will decide whether or not he can help you." Rebeka stared out the window and worried. What if the doctor said he couldn't help? What if he sent her home with her feet still curled? When they got to the doctor's office, Clay lifted her out of the car and she hurried up the hot sidewalk, pushing her stuffed bear in the tiny stroller. Before she got to the sliding glass doors, they whooshed open and cold air spilled out of the building. Clay, Meredith, Natalie, Anna, and Rebeka all hurried inside, out of the sun. Danny was at home with Elena and the boys. While Meredith went to talk to someone at the desk, Rebeka found a seat in the waiting room. There was a TV playing cartoons, but she didn't understand any of the words. She looked around at all the other kids waiting for appointments. Some were in wheelchairs. One boy couldn't hold up his head. A long string of drool dripped from his chin. Rebeka stared at the shimmery thread of spit. It reminded her of Papa's fishing line, and the thought of Papa made her stomach flip. "Rebeka Uwitonze?" said a woman in blue pants and shirt, holding a clipboard. "That must be you," said Meredith. She stood up and held out her hand. Rebeka swung her arm up to grab it. It was time. "I'll be taking Rebeka's temperature and blood pressure and weight," the woman said as they followed her to a small room. She put a band on Rebeka's arm that squeezed. Why was it squeezing? Would it stop? Her heart raced as she stared at Anna, wishing she'd explain, but she was talking to Meredith. The woman in blue smiled and took off the band. Then she asked Rebeka to stand on a metal platform. It was cold on the tops of her feet and hard to balance. Red numbers blinked on a little screen, and the lady wrote them down. "Now, sit here, please, and I'll take your temperature." Rebeka didn't know what she was saying, but she sat down because her legs were trembling. When Anna told her to open her mouth and the woman put a stick under her tongue, she felt a tear trickle down her cheek. She was so afraid of what might come next. Would they do the things that hurt, like at the clinic in Rwanda? Would they give her shots? Would they twist her foot all the way around and hold it in a cast? Would Meredith and Clay leave her here? "Hey," said Clay. He knelt down and looked into her eyes. "It's okay. Don't be afraid. It doesn't hurt." Anna translated and Rebeka nodded her head. She knew this didn't hurt. She was worried about later. "All done," said the woman as she took the thermometer out of Rebeka's mouth. Rebeka bent down and wiped the tear off her cheek. "Follow me," said the woman. They went down a long hall and into a room with windows. The floors were hard and shiny. Rebeka's black sandals made a squeaking noise each time she took a step. In the room, Clay picked her up and set her on a padded table covered in a long piece of paper. A woman in green pants and a matching green shirt came in. "My name is Gina," she said. "I'm a registered nurse, and I help Dr. Dana." Rebeka didn't understand much, but she liked the lady's smile. "Can I take pictures of your feet?" she asked and held up a phone. "She wants to take pictures," Anna explained in Kinyarwanda. Rebeka nodded, and the woman named Gina began to take pictures. Rebeka wished she could hold the phone and take them herself. Elena had let her use her phone, and she had taken hundreds of photos of the dogs and the house and the lake and everything. The grown-ups chatted as they waited for the doctor. Nobody seemed like they were worried. Maybe it was going to be okay. Maybe nothing would hurt. Rebeka tore off a tiny piece of paper from under her leg and twisted it into a sharp little point. She poked it on her knee, her finger, and inside her stuffed bear's ears. "Hello!" A tall man with gray hair and glasses strode into the room. He was wearing a pair of light blue pants and a shirt the same color. He smiled a big smile. "I'm Dr. Dana, and you must be Rebeka." "Dr. Dana." She wished she could understand.